Formula One fans, there's a limit to everything, even in this sport. And what happened in Brazil crossed that limit a long time ago. During the Interlagos weekend, there was a tense climate at Ferrari, and the situation exploded when something shameful occurred. Offensive chants arrived and even direct threats toward Riccardo Adami, Lewis Hamilton's race engineer. Yes, you heard that right. Threats to an engineer who's just doing his job. This is unacceptable, it's disgraceful, and we need to talk about it. The man who for months has worked behind the scenes trying to make a complicated project function found himself in the crosshairs of some fans, or rather of those who've forgotten what respect means in a sport like Formula One. According to testimonies and videos circulating on social media, some Hamilton fans started shouting heavy insults against Adami shortly before the start of the São Paulo Grand Prix. The most repeated chant in Portuguese was clear and disturbing. Adami can wait. His time will come. A chilling phrase, an episode that outraged the entire paddock, leaving everyone speechless. Adami, noticing the scene, turned toward the crowd, receiving as response a middle finger from one of the fans, a gesture that says everything about the tension level surrounding Ferrari right now. Because yes, the climate inside the garage is incandescent. Hamilton hasn't yet found harmony with the SF25. Results aren't arriving and frustration grows day after day. After the Interlagos retirement, his words were extremely harsh. It's a nightmare. And not just for results, but for the pressure he now feels from every side. Making the situation worse came John Elkann's declarations. Ferrari's president in a recent interview called the team to greater cohesion and discipline. Words many interpreted as a message directed precisely at Hamilton and his technical entourage, including Adami. And this contributed to creating an even more tense climate. But this is where we need to stop a moment and reflect, because Riccardo Adami isn't just any character. He's one of the most respected engineers in the paddock, a professional who's worked with Vettel, with Sainz, and now with Hamilton. Someone who doesn't seek spotlights, who prefers speaking with numbers and work. Certainly, the relationship with Hamilton this year hasn't been the best. They've had communication problems too. However, it's unacceptable that precisely he becomes the target of insults and threats for faults. He doesn't have, because the car doesn't work, and he can't do more than this. It's absurd that an engineer becomes the scapegoat for problems that go far beyond his responsibilities. Formula One's world often fills with words like respect, passion, and sporting spirit, but episodes like this demonstrate how often they remain just words. Behind every engineer, every mechanic, every driver, there's a person working under enormous pressure, trying to hold together a complex machine with millions of eyes watching. And if there's one thing Ferrari cannot afford right now, it's precisely losing unity. Because beyond technical problems and on-track disappointments, an even more serious problem is emerging, the human one. Adami, as always, hasn't reacted publicly. No posts, no controversy, no words out of place. Only silence and work. But the message arriving from this episode is clear: Formula One must examine its conscience. Because if an engineer gets threatened from the stands, if a team gets insulted while trying to recover, then something has broken. And it's not just about Ferrari, it's about respect for the sport. It's important to criticize what's not working well at Ferrari, from sporting aspects to technical aspects. You can also criticize how a person works, but you must never reach criticizing at a personal level. Because there you're crossing the threshold we've set, and that must remain fixed there. We can discuss wrong strategies, questionable technical choices, insufficient performances, but always with respect. Because we all have dignity, and nobody should be the direct target. I also want to report Juan Pablo Montoya's words describing Lewis Hamilton's current situation. According to the former Colombian driver, Hamilton's frustration stems from something very simple yet profound. Hamilton thinks he's doing more than Ferrari is doing for him. For Montoya, Lewis is giving everything to try changing things at Maranello. He commits, works, pushes, but feels the team isn't following with the same momentum. And when you find yourself in that situation, it's inevitable that frustration grows. You feel like giving your maximum and receiving nothing in return. The sooner Ferrari learns to listen to Hamilton, the better it will be for the future. Hamilton didn't come to Ferrari to survive. Let's remember this. He came to write history. But the risk is that history ends in a dead end if the team doesn't change mentality. According to the BBC and journalist Andrew Benson, Hamilton is tied to Ferrari until 2027, while Charles Leclerc will remain at least until 2029. A long-time horizon that tells one clear thing: Ferrari is betting on stability and continuity. Even if for now results don't reward this strategy, not so much for driver choice as for the car that isn't competitive. During the Interlagos weekend, Hamilton clarified about his contract. "I have a rather long contract. Normally you start talking the year before expiration, and at the moment I'm far from that date." When asked if discussions could arrive already next year, the response was sharp: no. In short, at least on paper, the two drivers' destiny is traced. But the real question is another. Will Ferrari manage to build a car worthy of two drivers at this level? Because in words, stability is an advantage. But if results don't arrive, even the longest contract becomes a cage. Hamilton stated it clearly: "I don't want to leave Formula One without the 8th title." And Leclerc, after years of illusions and disappointments, won't accept remaining in a stagnant project. Maranello must react, and quickly, because otherwise these contracts risk transforming from rebirth promise to frustration symbol. Ferrari has all ingredients to return great. Two exceptional drivers, talented engineers, infinite resources. But unity is needed, respect is needed, clear direction is needed. And above all, it's needed that episodes like threats to Adami never repeat again. Because that's not passion, it's ignorance. That's not fandom, it's gratuitous violence. And Formula One Ferrari, real fans deserve much more. The incident with Adami represents something deeper than just one unfortunate episode. It's a symptom of how toxic fan culture can become when results don't match expectations, when pressure builds to unbearable levels, when people forget that behind every role there's a human being. Adami has dedicated his career to Ferrari, working tirelessly with multiple world champions, always maintaining professionalism and dedication. To see him targeted with threats and insults is not just wrong, it's a complete betrayal of what Ferrari claims to represent: excellence, tradition, respect. While Elkan calls for unity and discipline, while management demands better results, while everyone points fingers at each other, the real enemies of Ferrari's success are becoming clearer. Toxic atmosphere, lack of trust, absence of genuine collaboration. Montoya's observation about Hamilton doing more than Ferrari does for him cuts to the core. When a 7-time world champion feels his efforts aren't being matched by his team, when he senses he's pushing harder than the organization supporting him, that's when relationships break down irreparably. Ferrari stands at a crossroads. One path leads toward genuine transformation, embracing Hamilton's input, creating collaborative environment, building championship-winning culture. The other path leads toward continued dysfunction, blaming individuals, allowing toxic behavior, repeating same mistakes endlessly. What happened to Adami in Brazil should serve as wake-up call. This isn't acceptable. This isn't what Ferrari should be. This isn't what Formula One should tolerate. Fans have every right to be frustrated, to be disappointed, to demand better. But that frustration can never justify personal attacks, threats, or abuse toward anyone associated with the team. This is the lesson we must learn from this Formula One shame. Respect comes before everything, always. Respect for those who work, respect for those who commit, respect for those who try giving maximum even when everything seems going wrong.